welcome back to this channel where we spread love and positive vibes. Thank you once again guys for supporting us, subscribing to this channel, commenting down below and liking our video. I don't take it for granted and therefore I thank you so much. Guys, today I want us to talk about something. Actually, it is the history of Jamaica, but we can so much relate with the current Jamaican people. And I want to start the video by asking you a question. Have you ever wondered why Jamaicans are so strong-willed, very resilient, very hardworking, very courageous, and they love justice? Today, I'm going to answer all those questions in today's video. Now, I want to tell a story of a woman who was captured as a slave in Ghana, specifically from the Asante community, and was captured together with others to be taken as a slave to Jamaica. First of all, so that maybe you can understand, maybe you have not read the history of the Jamaican people. The Jamaican people, or rather the land Jamaica, was initially occupied by the Taino people. The Taino people had come from either South or North America. And when they arrived in Jamaica, they occupied and of course started tilling the land because the land was very productive and actually living their life there. Later, the Spanish people came and completely wiped away the Taino people. And therefore, the Spanish people settled and started cultivating and started producing a lot of crops from the fertile Jamaican soils. Later, they were joined by the British people who actually fought with them, subdued them, and actually sent the Spanish people away and occupied Jamaica. When the British people came to Jamaica, they started planting sugar plantations and actually introducing cows, introducing all those things that some of them are seen in Jamaica. And therefore they needed people to work in their plantations, especially in sugar plantations. And therefore they came to Africa to actually capture slaves. Initially, I think these slaves were being sold to them. But later, they decided to go and get the slaves from Africa, and they actually went to West Africa and captured so many people as slaves to work in their sugar plantations. And therefore, Nanny the Maroon was captured together with others to go and work as slaves. First of all, sorry guys, I started by asking you, have you ever wondered why Jamaicans are so strong and they are actually long distance runners? No, short distance runners, sprinters. I'm going to tell you why. Kenyans are the ones who are long distance runners. I'm sorry for that. Therefore, when these people were captured, there was a very long journey between West Africa and Jamaica. And therefore, there were diseases to persevere, they were being beaten, they were going through hardship, no food along the way, and therefore, those that arrived in Jamaica were the remnants. Very strong people, very resistant to diseases, and very willed people. And that is why I started by asking you, have you ever asked yourself why Jamaicans are strong-willed? They are very hardworking, they are resilient, they are determined, and all those characteristics that we have talked about that that is possessed by the people of Jamaica. And therefore, along the way, there are some slaves that died. Some were killed by the diseases, others were killed because of starvation, others were killed because of the long distance trip from West Africa to Jamaica. But those that arrived in Jamaica were the most strong people, most determined people, most resilient people, and people who could not give up easily. Those are the forefathers of the Jamaican people. And I'm going to talk about the story of one of them, and this story is going to tell us so many characteristics that we see with the people of Jamaica. So I'm going to talk about Nanny the Maroon. So during this time, when Nanny and others were captured in Ghana in the Asante Kingdom, they were taken by ship, crossing the oceans and the seas to arrive in Jamaica. And immediately the ship landed on the shores of Jamaica. Nanny and others literally ran away. For someone to run away, for someone to be able to escape, of course you must be able to run very, very fast. Remember that these people grew in Africa, had endured hardships that are actually experienced by most children in Africa. They had endured long distance walks to different places. I remember when I was growing up, we had to walk long distance from home to the market. And therefore these people were actually adapted to hardship, adapted to walking and landing and doing all those shenanigans. And therefore when Nanny arrived in Jamaica, of course, with the kind of life she was brought in, she was able to escape together with others, and they learned. And I think one of the characteristics of Jamaicans are that they are sprinters. Jamaicans can learn. They are the fastest people in the world. And for sure, you can see where these genes were got from. So Nanny the Maroon and the others ran to the Broom Mountain, and they actually hid there, and the British people could not capture them back. So they went to the Broom Mountain, joined other Maroons that were there in the Broom Mountains. The Maroons are the African slaves that were escaping from the British colonial rule, and they were going to the forest so that they can train how to fight the guerrilla wars on the British people. One thing that teaches me about the characteristics of Nanny and the Maroon people is that they were very, very hardworking, and therefore they could grow food in those mountains and actually send some of the traders that were around to come out of the hiding and go to the market, and therefore these traders could be sent with some of the food so that they can go and exchange with weapons so that these people can be able to fight the British colonial rule. One thing that you can note there is that they were very smart people. We have learned about the people of Jamaica, and we have seen how smart these people can be. Just merely yesterday, I talked about a guy, Gilbert Hero, who could do several things and actually excel in all of them. And therefore, with the genetic composition of the Jamaican people, Nanny and the Maroon could be able to sell their produce, exchange with weapons, and therefore get ready for the British people to come so that they can attack them. So that is one of the characteristics of Jamaican people that we are seeing in Nanny. Very smart, very creative, very innovative in all her plans. Actually, it is said that Nanny could plan an attack to the British people and actually make other slaves to escape and go back with them back to the Blue Forest. She could also lead wars against the British, burn their plantations, and actually raid the British territories and attack them, get weapons and food. That is how courageous Nanny was. Are you still asking where the people of Jamaica got their courage from? This is one of the traits of the people of Jamaica. They are very, very courageous and they will not stand and see injustice when they are just keeping quiet. That was the characteristic of the Maroon people and Nanny. And I want to ask you, for this woman to be able to escape from the ship, that shows a lot of courage, a lot of determination, and a lot of will to be free, a lot of will to fight injustice, a lot of will to actually free others from the slavery. And we have seen a lot. The people of Jamaica are very, very good at supporting each other, fighting for each other, and very, very determined in all what they do. This is actually a characteristic of their ancestors who are the Maroon people. Something else that I have seen peculiar and actually corresponds with the current Jamaican people is the fact that these Maroon people did not actually have sophisticated weapons like the British people, but their way of creativity overcame the British people. One thing that I have admired, which I know you have not maybe heard about it, because I've told you, I'm going to tell you the untold story of Nanny the Maroon. One thing that I have admired about this woman Maroon is that they had made a way of communication that the British people could not understand what they are saying, and they could not know that these people are literally communicating. They could actually communicate using a horn, a cow's horn. And this horn was made in such a way that it had a hole on one side. They could call it a bell. A bell. Remember, when Nanny escaped from the ship on the seashore, she went to the Blue Mountain and actually formed an alliance. She joined hands with other three gentlemen from the Asante community, and they formed a strong team that could resist the British rule. The names of the other three were Kwa, Akopong, and Kurjos. Kurjos. I hope I'm pronouncing them well. So these three joined Nanny to actually fight against the British rule. I have told you that they used a way of communication using a horn, and the British people could not understand. The other thing that shows a lot of creativity, like the creativity we see with the current Jamaicans. These people knew how to camouflage. They used branches of trees and leaves to actually camouflage, and the British people could not recognize them until when it is too late that they are already under the hands of the Maroon people. And therefore they could be captured so easily because the Maroon people could be able to camouflage with branches of trees and leaves, and therefore they could not be recognized. And the other thing that I saw very, very peculiar about the Maroon people that actually shows their creativity and their way of thinking was on a very, very high level. Just like we see with the Jamaican people. After killing their target, which is of course the British Army, they could not kill all of them. They could spare one of them so that he can go back to the British people and tell them of the horrors they have gone through and therefore create fear so that the British can yield quickly to their demands. Can you see how tactful these people were? Just like we see with the Jamaican people. The other day we were watching Usain Bolt running, and he could learn talking to their opponents, actually teasing them, and in the long run, he will be the one winning the race. This is what Nanny and the Maroons were doing. They actually kill the British Army, remain one of them, send them back or send him back to the camp, and when he narrates the horrors the others have gone through, it creates fear on the British people, and therefore they were forced to yield early to the demands of the Maroon people. The other techniques that the Maroon people are using is that they used to make just one narrow way to their village. And therefore, anybody coming to their village must pass through that narrow way, and therefore you have no other way of escape or no other way of running away once the Maroon people capture you along that route. And therefore, along that route, they could be able to hide and camouflage themselves, and the British Army, on following that route, could be captured easily. And it is said Nanny could use magic. There was a pot that could boil, and they could, according to stories, I don't know how true this is, they could put the British Army in that pot and they could boil to death. That is how the stories are. And the other thing that I have heard about Nanny is that she was able to resist the bullets of the British people. It is said that when the bullets hit Nanny and the Maroon people, they could bounce back to the British Army. I don't know how they managed to do this, but I think they had an art of doing it so well, and in a very tactful way and in a very creative way, that the British Army never came to know how the Maroon people were resisting their bullets. So we can see a lot of similarity between the Maroon people and the current Jamaican people. The current Jamaican people are fighters. They don't like injustice. And this is a characteristic of Nanny the Maroon. She and the Maroon people did not like injustice, did not like oppression by the British people, did not like how the British were treating their own. And that is why they could fight them, free the other slaves, burn their plantations, and actually steal some weapons from the British people. And therefore, they fought with a lot of resilience, they fought with a lot of determination, they fought with a lot of courage, they fought with a lot of love for their land, which we see with the Jamaican people. The love of Jamaica, the love of their own, the love of the people of Jamaica made the Maroon people to actually subdue the British Army and actually force them to sign a treaty in 20th April 1740. In this treaty, the Maroon together with Nanny were given 500 acres of land to live peacefully without interfering with the British rule. So they were compensated for 500 acres of land, and this 500 acres of land is actually the current land where the Maroon village is in Jamaica, in the Blue Mountains. And therefore they were given land so that they can stop bothering the British Army, and actually the other condition they were given, in case the British Army or the British people are attacked by French or any other enemy, The Maroon people were to help them fight the other group. So they signed a treaty that restored peace to the Maroon people. Through their resilience, through their hard work, through their determination, through their creativity and tactfulness, they managed to sign a treaty and they managed to be given a rod by the British people. Can't you see the similarity between Jamaican people and the Maroon people? These strong genes, these strong characteristics, what we see in the current Jamaican people came from the ancestors that were there before them. And we can see clearly that these people fought without fear, fought courageously, fought with a lot of determination to free themselves from the colonial masters. And finally, they managed to free themselves, and we celebrate this day when this treaty was signed in Jamaica every year. This day is celebrated, and Nanny herself was made a national hero. She is celebrated, and 500 notes, Jamaican notes, has her photo or her portrait. This is how the Jamaican people got their genes of determination, their genes of resilience, their genes of hard work, their genes of resistance and loving justice. That is all I have for today. Thank you once again for watching us. See you during the next video. Bye bye and God bless.